Titarna. So you said, I thought you believe, I thought we believe, soil and water, mother and father, we are children. So if mother and father not collaborate together, what will be happen? That will be happen to us. So be mindful, everyone. I would say we are children of soil and water. Thank you very much, and thanks for your commendable effort and for your wonderful ideas too. Thank you very much, sir. And now we are moving on to the next topic. So the next topic is about Agromet Advisory Services. It is a model designed by engineer, Sri Lankan engineer. So in order to give the expert remarks, we have another special person. He is one of the leading researcher in Sri Lanka, and village tank cascade, and also yes, one of the leading researcher in Sri Lanka, and also the village tank cascades based on ecosystems. So please help me to welcome Dr. P.B. Dharmasena to conduct the topic 2 next session, Agromet Advisory Services. So please give a round of applause to Dr. P.B. Dharmasena.
Good afternoon, my friends. Engineer Lalit Dallis and Engineer Prabhat Titarna. Really, I appreciate that this unexpected invitation for me to run this show at the moment. And you know that we have learned a lot today. Especially this particular aspect of irrigation systems. In Sri Lanka, we have probed into this particular topic for last 20-30 years. And we found that some people have based their disciplines and try to see, like, you know that the elephant can be explained by different blind people from different angles. So we are blind people. And just to imagine what it looks like, the village tank, it's not everywhere. It's not a common one in the world. It's very specific to Sri Lanka. So we have learned a lot, but still, I should say that this is just not the end of these studies, and we have to continue. After Engineer Prabhat Titarana, there are a lot of scientific generation there, scientists, junior scientists, and they will do. And also I want to just make a remark that engineers are there, they have done their job. Water scientists were there, they have done their job. But still, this particular agrarian community could not be really illustrated how they have lived in harmony with nature no one could be able to understand. So I just invite all sociologists to come here and try to study this, archaeologists, historians, and also agricultural scientists. We always started something from different angles, but finally end up with something else. So that is the nature of science. And I met Mr. Prabhat Vitarna in 1985 or 6 with Dr. C.R. Panabokke in a field where I worked. That is Payandikulam, close to Aragamba at Mahilupallama region. That's about more than 35 years I associated with him. Sometime we argued with very hot argument, but we understood each other. So that now today I am really privileged and I am very fortunate to attend this particular event, and I should congratulate you, Engineer Prabhat Vitarna, to come up with such findings which will be much beneficial to young generation. So that now we are coming to the second session. We know that we have a lot of data gathered here and there, stored in repository systems. And sometimes we don't know what kind of database we have. But still, if you are not utilizing this one, the whole efforts to gather this data will go waste. But I just appreciate here that how we can utilize this data to serve our people. For example, meteorological data. If you have data sets, can you advise people what will happen if there is no rain in next few weeks or few days? And based on soils, based on evaporation demand, how we can assure their crops. So there should be a kind of agromet advisory service with some kind of models. You know that models are always working at a certain probability, not the definite statement that we can make. So this model will tell you something to expect what you are supposed to do if there is no rains or no any moisture stress in your field. So this is, I think, meant for mostly extension people and the farmers. We will try to learn now from Engineer R.S. Senanayake, who was working with Engineer Prabhat Vitarna, so that I invite him to illustrate how this model looks like. Mr. Senanayake.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. I would like to present very important model, very important part of advisory service within very short time. My topic is Farmer Advisory Service for Irrigation, Water Scheduling and Drought Severity. This is to minimize the water risks in agriculture. I have 3 deliveries to present. First one is irrigation water scheduling. For this one, I have prepared steps. It contains 8 steps. First one is identify AC level grade soil groups. We have to identify soil groups in each and every AC areas for lowland and upland crops. For this, we can use this map to identify soil groups in our agrarian services areas. We can overlay agrarian services map with this soil map, then we can find the soil groups. Second step is identify the available moisture for each soil types. These are some examples for available moisture in dry zone and wet zone. For example, low humic clay soil, available moisture in dry zone is 128 millimeters per meter. For the wet zone, it contains 160 millimeters per meter depth. Using this one, we can calculate depletion level. For the paddy, we can use 75% depletion level, and for the OFC, we can use 50% depletion level. This is the third step. We have to collect infiltration data, or we can assume the infiltration data for lowland and upland crops, each and every soil types. I think, Doctor, you can remember this is one example, one experiment we done in Kapirigama Cascade. Then next step is calculate potential evapotranspiration, ET0, and effective rainfall. Not for the monthly effective rainfall, we have to calculate daily effective rainfall. For potential evaporation, we all know from the fan evaporation, we can get the data, and we can calculate ET0 with the fan coefficient. Then for this purpose, we have to develop PET surface by using GIS interpolation. Now, at the moment, we have already prepared this PET surface in our branch, in our remote sensing division. So, we all know for the crop water requirement, for the calculation of crop water requirement, we have to consider the evaporation and transpiration. If we know crop factor for each and every growth stages, we can calculate the ET crop, evapotranspiration crop, by multiplying with crop factor. Because as step 6, we should consider the crop type, crop growth stages of each and every crops, and thereby we can calculate crop water requirement. Then step 7, undertake soil water balance daily. We have to consider the rainfall, effective rainfall, and water supply from irrigation, and water losses as infiltration, evaporation, transpiration. With this data, we can prepare a model for soil water balance. In our division, one young technical officer named Dilshan, he is attended for this work. He is collecting data. Here we have District Agrarian Service Center and climatic zone, available moisture. According to the root zone depth, we can calculate the available depletion level and available water in soil reservoir. If we consider as a one irrigation water depth is 75 millimeter, and we can calculate water losses. We can do soil water balance with this model. Here you can see for the first day it is automatically calculate ET crop for first day, effective rainfall for first day, and after after 7 days we can find number of days for available water. That means we can change the irrigation frequency using these figures. If we consider as irrigation frequency is 7 days, after the 7 days if there is available moisture in soil, we can increase the irrigation frequency by this as this last column. Normally we introduce rotational water issues to the farmers. By using this model, we can change this rotational water issues to get to increase the water use efficiency in that scheme. This is the step 6. Step 8. Decide the irrigation frequency. Assuming depth of irrigation is constant. That means if we can take as 75 millimeter for 7 days, and we can decide the irrigation frequency using this model. Then my second delivery is about drought severity. It also contains some steps. First one is calculate 75 probability rainfall for each agroecological region for last 30 years by the Thiessen polygon method. We have already prepared, as our chief engineer Mr. Prabhat said. This is the Thiessen polygon map for the rainfall data, 75 probability rainfall. Then step 2, calculate average monthly evaporation. For this, now we have our own agroecological, our own agromet station, 16 numbers and 16 numbers in dry zone area, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura, Vaunia, and as shown in this figure, we have 16 numbers, agromet station. And we have interface for collecting data, rainfall data online. Now in this year, with our Commissioner General instruction, we have prepared VPN for the each and every agrarian service center. Then they collect rainfall data in agrarian service center. In 562 agrarian service centers collect data, their own rainfall data. They have established rain gauges, and they can upload that daily rainfall into the system, and we can have this type of interface for that data. So standard water availability index we can calculate by dividing rainfall divided by evaporation, moisture availability index standard. And if we have actual data, we can calculate actual water availability index by using actual figures. These are for the agromet's data, and this is example for Pompe Madu agromet station. Then next step is identify 4 different trigger levels and inform the farmers about drought severity according to the actual data. My last delivery about flood risks. There are some conditions. First one is antecedent rainfall for the last 5 days. This map shows the agrarian service boundaries of Sri Lanka. Condition 2 is hydrological soil group. Now we have this map. We can use this map for our calculation. Next condition is watershed status and size. That's mean size of the catchment area and status. That's mean heavy jungle, sometimes sub jungle, rock knob surface. This type of status we have to consider as a condition 3. Then tank water level as a condition 4. Last condition is location in cascade. Is it top, middle or bottom? According to these conditions, with these 5 conditions, we can have a this type of example shows this about this calculation. If it is antecedent rainfall is 100 millimeter, hydrological soil group 4, watershed status and size is in high condition, tank water level at that time is filling, location cascade is bottom. Our particular tanks is located in bottom of the cascade. If it is the condition, then flood risk is high. So we can give flood alert to the farmers about from this data by SMS or any other media, using any other media. Early warning system can develop. For the time being, my presentation is over. I would like to thanks to especially to our former chief engineer, Engineer Prabhat Sitarana. He is guide me to do this type of model, and I would like to thanks my young technical officer, Mr. Dilshan. He is collecting this data, he is processing this data, and I think we can do better work for our farmers as an advisory service in future. I hope you all will help to improve this system in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Senanayake, and also I should congratulate him because he has opened up the subject, how we can utilize our real-time data to help others, advising about drought and flood, at the same time how they can go for new irrigation scheduling. And also this is a very nice game, playing with data. I can remember now, we have this agroecological map, soil map, so many maps we can generate now. In the past, we didn't have any kind of information such as satellite, these signals or maps. But what they did to locate these big reservoirs. Now just take our map with contours, our Sri Lanka map with contours. If we just draw 150 meter contour and locate all these old reservoirs, you will be surprised to see that all these old reservoirs are just hanging on this 150 meter contour. They didn't have any kind of supporting databases. Now, why I say that you have opened up this sun for future generation, because now we know that we have, earlier we had 24 agroecological zones based on specially rainfall. Then we have expanded to 49. Now you have lot of other parameters you can add into that. And we know that although we have DL4, DL5, DL3, but when you go to the field, it's not the same way that we can see in the field as far as the rainfall is concerned. That is because of we have some other source of data missing in our classifications. Now he has generated using evaporation, using antecedent rainfalls, soil, so that I think we can expand this agroecological zonation into more and more details. That's another one we have to look for. So, where we have stopped, where Dr. Panabuk and all these stopped, you can start from that. So, that is why I say you have opened up this sun for future generation to proceed with some more scientific investigations. And also now, the smartphone, everyone is having, even farmers. So if you can convert these into apps with real-time data, they will take everything. And also we will save our water more and more, and efficiency will increase. And also we can even do cultivation under some stress conditions if we know that our future climate, how it looks like. So thank you very much, Engineer Senanayake, for giving this valuable information and the findings. And you can go ahead with some more investigations. Thank you very much. And I should thank organizers to invite me to chair this session. And we have come up with a very nice, valuable presentations and findings, so that anyone can understand that and go ahead with some more things to serve the nation. Thank you very much.
ස්තුතියි මැතිතුමනි. ආචාර්ය පී.බී. ධර්මසේන මැතිතුමනි, ඔබතුමාට සමරු පළකයක් සූදානම් කර තිබෙනවා. එය පිළිගැන්වීම සඳහා මා ඉතා ගෞරවයෙන් ආරාධනා කර සිටිනවා ගොවිජන සංවර්ධන කොමසාරිස් ජෙනරාල් තුමාට. ස්තුතියි ඔබ සියලු දෙනාට. ඉතින් ඒ ආකාරයෙන් ඉතාමත්ම වටිනා කෘෂි කාලගුණික දත්ත ජාලයක් අපට හිමි වුණා. එය අප සැමගේ අධ්‍යයන කටයුතු වලට බෙහෙවින් ඉවහල් කරගත හැකි අධ්‍යයනයක් බව සඳහන් කරන්නත් කැමැතියි. ඒ වගේම මේ මොහොතේ මතක් කර යුතුයි ඉංජිනේරු ප්‍රභාත් විතාරණ මැතිතුමා ඊටම කෘතවේදීව සඳහන් කළා මෙම දත්ත ජාලය සැකසීම සඳහා කෘෂිකර්ම දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ ප්‍රධාන විද්‍යාඥ ආචාර්ය බී.වී.ආර්. පුණ්‍යවර්ධන මැතිතුමා තම සම්පත්දායකත්වය ලබා දුන් බව. එතුමා අද දිනේ අප සමග සම්බන්ධ වී නොසිටියත් අප කෘතවේදීව එතුමාව මේ මොහොතේ සිහිපත් කරනවා. ඒ සමගින් තාක්ෂණ සැසියේ දෙවනාංගය මින් නිමාවට පත්වෙනවා. තිලින.
Thank you very much, Lahironi. So now the second topic is over. So beforehand,